Hello and welcome back to Roboguide training. In this video I'm going to cover Lab 17 where we're going to be using some conditional if branching statements. In the next video I'll cover Lab 20. I'm going to skip over Labs 18 and 19 because those you need to do on your own using all the different things we've been covering. So in Lab 17 we're going to be making use of the data registers. So on the computer there are a couple of different registers. We've already been using the position register to store position data, but there's a few other registers here. And then there's the registers which can be used to store numbers, integers or decimal point numbers or any kind of value. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose one of these, and your program is going to look at the value in that register, and based on the value it's going to do one thing or another. So that's what we mean by conditional branching. So let's go back to this select menu. We're going to create a program called main1. So I'll bring up the keyboard. And so in the lab handout, it shows you the basic form of the program, and the first part of it, there's going to be a loop. It's going to be one of those programs that keeps looping. So we're going to create a label. Whoops, here you see my message up here, teach pendant is disabled. Just need to turn that on, okay. Click label, so we're going to put label number 1 there. And now we're going to create 3 if statements, 3 conditional statements. Go to the instruction menu, click on if select, and we're going to do an if blank equals blank type of statement. So click on that, and what we're looking at is the value in a register. So I'm going to use register 3 for my register. I guess in the program it's, you know what, might as well stay consistent. It says use register 5. It doesn't really matter. But if register 5 equals, okay, now we're going to work with 3 different numbers. If it's equal to a 1, I'm going to call the square program. Now, I'm going to do something before I go on, because I'm going to have 2 more statements. If it's equal to 2, it's going to call the triangle. If 3, it's the circle. So before I go on, I want to label that register. So to do that, there's this blank spot here. I just hit enter, bring up the keyboard, and I'm going to call it program select. And so back in my program, you see where when I'm calling that register, I can see it's the program select register. It just helps me to identify what the function of that register is. All right, so the next command is another if blank equals blank. We're looking at the same register 5. In this case, if it's a 2, we're going to call the triangle. And one more command, if blank equals blank, if register 5 equals a 3. So notice I have to click the constant option, and that allows me to type in a constant. I'm going to call the circle. Okay, so once we've got those 3 choices in there, we're going to add what's called an else. Else is a condition for anything other than 1, 2, or 3. So to get the else added there, we just go to if select, cursor over, and you see the last option here is select else. And then the else, what we're going to do is if it's not 1, 2, or 3, we're going to jump back to label 1. So what this program is going to do is it's going to keep, if it's not 1, 2, or 3, if the register isn't 1, 2, or 3, it's just going to keep jumping back until it is one of those 3. Once it sees a 1, 2, or 3, it's going to call that program and then end. So this is not going to keep looping around forever. It's just going to do the shape once and then stop. So let's test it. Let's go back up here, hit the run. Okay, so right now what it's doing is it's just waiting. It's checking the register. The value of the register is 4 from the last time we were editing it. So it just keeps, it's not 1, 2, or 3, keeps jumping back forever and ever until I type in one of the 3 values. So if I put in a 2, it should do the triangle, which is that one that goes in forward and reverse, and end. That's it, just once through. So if I want to run it again, what I should probably do is change it to a different shape. Let's do the circle. So if I change that to a 3, go back, run the program. Now, the 3 value makes it draw the circle. And again, just ends once it's done with that. Just one more time, I'll put a 0 in, run the program again. Okay, so it's just waiting. And let's do the square this time. Do a 1, we'll call the square. Okay, you're going to use this program exactly the way you see it in Lab 18. Lab 18 is kind of a little exercise putting some, using looping and using some registers that are going to increment. So what you're going to do is essentially create a loop with another register that counts from 1 to 2 to 3. And the first time through the loop, the register is going to be 1. When it runs this program, it's going to call the square. The second time through the loop, the register is going to be 2. It'll call the triangle. Third time through, it'll call the circle with the register 3. So you can actually use a loop with an increment command, incrementing register 5, to create the 3 shapes using this program. And then I think it's going to be another loop that does that whole thing 3 times. So that'll be all kinds of fun. So the next video I'm going to do will be demonstrating Lab 20, which introduces another concept called the position register. So the next program I'm going to do is Lab 20, where we're going to introduce the position register used as an offset to points in a program.